side. Just looking at one question. So, Steny, what would you say was your major achievement? Steny.
Oh, STEMI, for me, one of the major achievements is our project Congoza mentoring program. It was
Yeah.
something that we started. In fact, let me not say we started. We started it initially with IVLP, that's the U.S. Department of State, but we doubled our entries during COVID because we realized a lot of social exclusion. So, Project Congoza is basically a mentoring program that we have for young women and girls, and it's a way of pairing them intentionally to Africans in diaspora, whereby they take them through some careers in STEM, and most importantly, instill upon them the confidence that they need to launch themselves, whether into the next class or into the university. And for me, to me, it's been groundbreaking because we not only see these girls being transformed, but we're able to see that they have used this mentoring, they've used this friendship and this peer-to-peer that they have with their mentors as a way of upscaling themselves in their different countries. So to me, that's more fulfilling, having to see that people are able to move from point A to point B. That's one of my achievements in STEMI. And another one, which that one is, let me not say it's an accolade, but it's a very good recognition. I was recently selected to participate in the Tech Women Fellowship that is going to be held in Silicon Valley
Oh,
on 22nd of this month. So yeah. So, yeah.
so
Yeah,
I'm basically talking to royalty here now.
right, yeah. Good work pays off, although I least expected it, but it's very encouraging because it's going to be bringing a lot of partnership, a lot of well, healthy connections with other peers
Yeah.
that are also going there, and also getting to meet these tech gurus and leveraging on connections.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, we're live now. You can continue. You can start your presentation.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks everyone. Thank you so much, Edwin, and thank you so much to the Eco Innovation Center team for the invite. So today, briefly, I'll be talking about leveraging on data, how we can build a sustainable winning startup in Nigeria. I don't know whether a poll will be shared to understand if this presentation meets their expectation, but I would love if we can share our concerns on the chat box otherwise. So typically, as a business owner, it is inevitable that you will be dealing with data. Like Edwin said, data is the new oil. I would also like to say that data is also a global currency. So whether you intend to do business in a particular demographic region, or you want to build an app, let's say, that facilitates quality or cheap healthcare in a locality, a good part of venturing into business involves dealing with data. Not to talk more of now that the world is such a digital space. So please, next slide. So this is today's reality. And if you look at it, less than 0.5% of all the data we create has never been analyzed or have been used. So you find out that in a country like Nigeria or in a continent like Africa, we don't know the essence of using data. And the second one, which I'm going to point out to us, is I'm going to share some examples. Is bad data. This is a reality. Bad data in the US costs US businesses over $600 billion annually. Now, you may ask yourself, what is bad data? Bad data is data that is simply inaccurate. Now, I want you to understand that this inaccuracy does not mean that the data is false, but true data can also be bad data. So bad data, for example, could include data that is having missing key elements, data that is not relevant for the purpose that is being used for, or data that is being duplicated, or maybe data that is poorly compiled. So all these are how you grade or categorize data that is being bad. Like I said, true data can also be bad data. And I'm going to cite an example of what happened during the pandemic 2 years ago in the world, especially in Africa as a continent. We found that there was this unstable sharing of data, especially giving the numbers. So there are some parts in Africa, for example, in Botswana, that were trying to shrink down the number of people that had COVID, or that, maybe the health centers discovered that they had COVID. While there were some parts in Western Africa that were probably jacking it up. Now, why I'm giving this example as a bad data was that the essence of sharing that data, like sharing the numbers of people that had or that were organized with data, with COVID, was of no essence. Because it was not, for example, okay, you're sharing this number and you're letting people, the next thing orientation that you want people to have from this data you have shared is COVID is real. You need to observe social distancing. You need to wear your mask and all. But in a country like Botswana, it wasn't translating that to them. It was rather making them scared. They were so fearful. So it's either you don't want to touch anybody, you don't want to see anybody, and all. So the essence of people to be conscious of that COVID was not there. Rather, it was instilling something else. And if you even look at it in today's world, in reality, a German survey just recently publicized that the impact of COVID was just by slightly 0.4%, because the lockdowns didn't change anything. The number of COVID cases were likely, still skyrocketing, which made them to really look at this data and say, hey, we have done some compare and contrast, and we'll try to mellow down or reduce the lockdown and all. So that's just an example of how data can be inaccurate and can make us to make irrational decisions. Then the third one is big data drove an estimated $235 billion in spending in 2016. I'm using this survey because America, and especially McKinsey, I got this from McKinsey, they're really big on statistics like this. So please let us go to the next slide. So now my question is, any clue on what to do with this data? Typically we have understanding that, okay, we need data because it can help us address or give answers to business questions. It can help us make better decisions. It can improve operations. It can create new streams of income, etc. But I usually advise businesses to be very careful about their data collection and management practices. I will tell you why. What do you do with this data? In reality, the most robust and compelling your data is, the more attractive it becomes as a business asset. There are some organizations in America that they value their data according to assets. You know how in your balance sheet you have your liabilities, you have your assets. They really, really value their data. They categorize it under the assets. That's to show you how powerful data is. So in fact, companies right now are being even bought and sold based on the data they have. I'll give you an example. As at 2015, IBM acquired a company called the Weather Company. Now, this weather company, IBM, why they acquired is because they needed to have access to the weather company's vast weather-related data resources. Now, in the long run, IBM now sells these data to other companies who have an interest in understanding weather patterns. A lot of companies, virtually all companies in Australia, New Zealand, have this. So you can see how the power of data is, and how IBM is really feasting on these organizations that have, let me not use the word feasting, basically they see the future, but you see how they capitalize on these data. So next slide, please. So yes, I would dig deep into this. And this is my words, with the digitization of everything from financial services to logistics to even the provision of public services, Nigeria is becoming more data rich than ever. I'll tell you why I said so. Number one, our population is fast growing and urbanizing. So if you look at it, more than 60% of Nigeria's and African population growth over the past few decades will occur in cities. And this will automatically make us the fastest urbanizing region in the world. But at the same time, our incomes are also rising across other parts of the continent. We are also generating new business opportunities in the consumer markets. Another reason why I said this is the second one is countries in Western and East Southern Africa are industrializing. So if you look at it, three quarters of our $1 trillion growth within a decade is likely going to be coming from the manufacturing to substitute imports and meeting local demands. From this data, I also want us to know that this is an opportunity, it's an important opportunity to start growing manufacturing exports and make Africa the world's next manufacturing center as industries start shifting from China to lower cost regions. Then the last one on why I know that Nigeria is a very rich center data country is we have the potential of increasing our digital and mobile access. I mean, if you look at it, we're already speeding up in transactions. We see the amazing thing that Paystack is doing and other, fintech organizations that, started germinating from the country. We have also seen how it's improving productivity and access to wide markets. So in short of what I'm trying to say is the opportunity is all out there. There are opportunities. And let me just digress a bit. That's why I'm happy of what Eco Innovation School is doing. I know you have a lot of courses that are centered on, say, web development data. I usually encourage people, no matter how small your business is, try to start looking on how to build authentic data for yourself, because it not only helps you to in making decisions, it helps you, for example, in determining your profits. It helps you as you want to launch yourself into a new demography, or there's a lot of things that you can do with data. So my next slide, I'll soon be done, but yeah. So this is also another reality. African business risks being left behind if they do not have the people with the right skills needed to build big data products or leverage on data to determine profitability. Why do I say that? Coming from the part where we do things on education, I see without gainsaying that there is a need for young people from even primary school to secondary school to start understanding mathematics, to start loving mathematics, to start learning and applying coding. We see China, everybody admires China. You need to see their curriculum. You need to see what students at the age of 7 build. So if we, position ourselves with these right technical skills, we can excel, whether not just only in your academics, but in this business you want to launch into. So I will go on by saying that as a prospective innovator that you are looking to, start a business or even an NGO, or maybe say you're a successful Nigerian, you should be ready to start solving problems and innovate to meet communities' unmet needs, because there is tremendous opportunity for growth when you leverage on data. Next slide, please. Okay, now winning in Nigeria. Why do I say that? So I'm a lover of Twitter, because why? Apart from it being banned, all about bans, I get to understand, or let me not say translate people's prospects. I see a lot of talents in the Nigerian space on Twitter, and I marvel. I've even seen 3 tweets, by white people who really attest to how Nigeria is really upscaling in fintech, UI, UX design, and all. I want us to go past this mentality or this narrative that the system is not working. Yes, it's not 100% working, but I can tell you for free that there are a lot of people that have been able to capitalize on this data, understand the market niche, and still excel despite the growing concerns in the country. So another thing I want you to understand that the fastest growing and the most profitable businesses in Africa, they see these challenges as a spur for innovation and to leverage on data too. I would like to, encourage us to be deeply conscious of the barriers of our business's success because there will be barriers. And I want us to also carefully build long-term resilience, around these data into your business intelligence and analytic model. So, having said that, next slide, please. I think that's just all. You can holler at me. And just if anything at all you picked from this, because I know I think I spoke quite a lot. If there's any one thing you picked from this is there are opportunities out there. But one thing I want to give you for sure is whatever data you are trying to analyze, please let it be authentic. It may take you a while to compile this data, but at the end of the day, you don't want to have a bad data. You don't want to have a data that even if you processed well, is inaccurate for that particular need that you want to solve in your business. So even if it takes you a lot of time, please take your time because at the end of the day, the data remains your assets. So having said that, thank you all so much. And thank you so much to my wonderful country director, Mr. Edwin, for giving me the opportunity. I would take any concerns or questions that we may have.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amanda. As usual, you're always an awesome man. I mean, given what you've been able to achieve so far, I'm not surprised that's what I'm hearing today. So, for real. So now it's now my issue with data is that there's like you said, 0.05% of all data has not been analyzed. So my problem is that is it really a challenge? Is the challenge really about generating data, or is it? So I feel like there's a whole value chain when it comes to data. There's creation, there's the analysis, which has a lot of processes within it, and of course there's the interpretation or say implementation of the result of the analysis. Now, which of these areas do you think that we need to do a lot more work in?
Okay. First things first, I think we get it wrong from the foundation. Like I mentioned, our data most times are not too authentic or not really data driven because we don't get it straight from the source or straight to the source. Now, when I say straight to the source, I mean what relevant parties are you getting this data from? What relevant demographic? Let me give you one typical example that even happened recently in December. We have this mindset Christmas time, you go to the village and all. So we needed to like get beers, larger beers. So, you have Star, you have Hero and all. So what we did was we always have this speculation in Lagos that people from the east love hero beer because of how people really respect or revere Peter Obi. So I just assumed, for example, that yes, amongst the beer we're going to buy a lot of hero beer. Unfortunately, this is just a data that I got from my head because of what people say. But in reality, I came down to Anambra and I realized that all the hero beer that we bought, nobody was going to drink it because they said that's not the drink they take. They're going to take Star Larger. Now, what I'm saying this is, you can see how it cost me quite a lot because of I assumed or because I had this speculation, but I did not get to ask the people who are going to eventually drink this beer, what beer do they like? So that's just a typical example of how we don't get data from the source. And once that happens and is transitioning, everything, the process is flawed. So if we get it right from the source, trust me, whatever output that we're giving is very factual. Why do you think a lot of people pay a lot of money to McKinsey. McKinsey spends billions of dollars to ensure that whatever data or research that they're bringing in is 100% authentic.
Mm. So you don't. So as a country, you don't think that the implementation of data that we won't have is not a challenge for us anymore.
It is a challenge. It is a challenge. And that's why, on the side, I really respect some think tanks that are helping to get this data, because even in our parastatals or the institutions, they don't even have this data. They don't have it. And but you see how from the USA, if since the late 1990s to early 2000, they're getting these statistics. And with these statistics, they're able to forge ahead. So that's a problem we have in the country. But like I said, it may take a while, but I would advise us to start small. However small, let's just start. But we don't
So
have that infrastructure.
if I'm a small business, right? If I'm a small business and I'm just starting out my journey of entrepreneurship, sorry, I'm not using most people. If I'm a startup, I
Yeah.
learned that in my in my dream of owning in my dream of conquering the market. Now, how do I really get my data? Like, where do I get my data from? How do I start? Okay, I want to use it. I want to use it to drive my business, but where do I start from? Basically, in your opinion.
Yeah, so let me just say it if I was to be in that
Like,
person's
you
shoe.
get a use case and you want
Yeah,
to.
so you are asking yourself what exactly is the function of that product? Who is the end user? You need to get your data from the end user. You need to even get your data from the middleman. So, for example, I build a health app that is going to help, say maternity rates, say, for example, in Bielsa. I should not just take that app because I know that it's a very social impact driven app to that place. I need to ask myself, what is the maternity rate? How, on a percentage, how many people get pregnant, for example, and before they have like the child labor, the child, they lose the baby and all. You need to look at that scope. So that way, whatever you are doing, you are tailoring it according to the needs of people. So if you were to ask me, it depends on the product that you want to offer. But I feel that you're not the one using the product. You are using it, you are giving it to the end user. You need to understand what exactly this end user use and tailor that need according to the solution that you are bringing to the table.
Okay. So so thank you so much. I appreciate it. I mean, it's really really insightful. I love people out here. I love people here. But I think one final question from me: how do I decide what questions to ask? Because I think a lot of things about the is asking the right questions, right? That's like like I said, that's like the foundation for everything you're going to do. So if you do not ask the right questions when you are gathering data, you are going to fail, right? So, well, how do you determine the right questions to ask?
Yeah, you're right. So that's like finding your data type. So maybe for example, how are you even going to get these data? Are you going to have them one on one, or are you going to do things based on speculation or those who sell it to? I would advise to, if you can refine your process. Let me just give an example before I answer this question. So in December, this same December that we got past, we had this health week that we wanted to give a lot of drugs because we brought partners from the USA who was coming to like give free medical health care. And seeing how my boss is very sophisticated, they did a lot of, I'm just saying, they did a lot of radio jingles, like letting everybody know. And otherwise, they spent a lot of money, in terms of publicizing that. But on the first day, we didn't get a credible, a reasonable number of people who attended the event. And I said inwardly, I asked myself that these people that you want us to attend to, what are the means of communication? How best can they be reached effectively that once they are being told, they would come? And we found out that we were very local. They don't listen to radio. All you have to do is just mobilize a town crier with 5,000, 10,000, and he's going to tell everybody. And tell you the truth, that day first that the first day that we didn't have we had very poor outcome. That evening, we mobilized town criers to go around. The second and third day, there was a surge. In fact, we were so scared. And how much did it cost us? It didn't cost us anything. So what I did, why I'm saying this is that you need to ask yourself questions like, who are the people that you want to tailor these things to? Do you understand? So that
Mhm.
way you can be able to streamline it, because you find out that you spend less, you find out that you make more impact, you find out that your outcome is certain. So why I'm giving you these typical examples is that I've worked in the rural setting, I've worked in urbanized settings. There are certain kind of questions that we tailor to them. There are sometimes that you may even ask these questions or do your research that people may not be welcoming to you, because we still have this low mindset about how to gather this data. Well, I believe that you can always walk around it, ask yourself what the expected outcome is, and see how you can refine that process to meet that outcome. I don't know if that answered your question.
Awesome. It's I can listen to you talk all day.
It's exhausting, right?
No, I can listen to you talk all day. Like I mean, it's just fantastic the way you have actual insight into all these things. I mean, just wondering, I'm wondering so how you've gotten so much experience in so little time. Anyway, that being said, sorry, I'm going to throw it open to everyone who's streaming, watching our live stream on the air meets now. Please, do you have any questions? Just put it in the chat box and let's ask her. I mean, what do you want to know about data, about how data affects your business? Just if you want to know if you have had any experience with how data or lack of data has boosted or killed your business, please just share with us. Let us be able to give you feedback, and let's everybody that's listening in or watching in right now be able to share with us, to listen to you and get to know, be inspired, or be cautioned by what's happened to you. So please,
Yeah. So
just ask.
just quickly add something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So, the presentation I gave today was, I may not say broad, but it's not practical, because I'm sure you may be expecting like some Tableau tables or SQL or
Yeah.
code, right? But in short of it is just to prepare our minds for the broad opportunities that data can help us with. These days, I don't even help to analyze data. I just be like a data consultant. So even apart from being, using data for your startup, you can be a data consultant. You can use this data, play with this data, and advise startups, advise agriculturists, advise hospitals about it. So what I just want to say that there are a lot of opportunities out there for data, no matter whether you're using it as an end user or whether you're applying it to your business or whether you're just in the middle, helping both channels is an exciting opportunity.
Okay. So I want to ask a question from one of our streams. As a startup, what is the most important way to seek recognition for your brand? Data for growth? How do you go about it?
Okay, let me take that. I don't know whether that was related to data, but let me try.
Well, so basically, I think what he wants to say is like, how can I use data to grow my brand?
Okay, how can you use data to grow your brand? Okay, it's quite simple. Like I said, what exactly is your brand? What are you doing? Are you doing things that are centered on showbiz? If you're doing things that are centered on showbiz, you may need to start capturing your data from social media. You may need to start capturing your data from like e-platforms, because that's where showbiz is tilted to. Or if you're an agriculturist, you need to start asking farmers or the sellers this question. So why I'm saying this is, you can use data in terms of growing your brand if you start doing strong research on who your end users are. Because it's one thing to say you want to have a business, another thing to be for it to be very sustainable. Sustainable, I mean, is no matter come rain, come shine, your business is still standing the test of time.
Mm, awesome. Does anyone else have a question? Anyone have a question? No one. She's here. Oh, next time you see her, you have to pay. We brought it out to you for free. Ask any question you want to ask now. Okay, no one. So yeah, thanks so much to everyone that came today. Thank you, Lord, for your. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for sitting in and listening to Amanda. And Amanda, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. I know that your time is very precious, and you are, you have a lot on the table. I'm so sure you have a lot on the table. And thank you. We can't appreciate you enough for making out this time to come and speak to us. And I hope we can get you again another day. But again, thank you very much, and I hope you have a very lovely weekend. Right? So I can see you're looking very, very beautiful, and I'm sure you have other plans today. So let me know. Let's end this quickly so that you can go and have as much fun as you have planned to. Please, I would really, really like you to join our Telegram group. So when we're having discussions, you can always chip in. I'm
Yeah.
sure we get the link across to you, and please join. We'd love to have you there.
And also, yes, and I want to join the community because it's not just about coming, to
Yeah, definitely.
also learn. So I look forward to also joining subsequent series. So thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome.
I'm so happy for the
Awesome.
platform. And yeah, let's
Yeah,
connect, let's learn, let's share,
yeah.
and let's grow.
Also, the links are already there, but we send it a link to you directly too if you can find them. Right. So thank you so much. Appreciate it for coming. Have a lovely day. Have a nice day. See you guys next week. Please be safe. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.